The Greatsword R1 is a near 360 degree swing. It's kinda slow, so it requires good zoning and channeling of your opponent. It's good to use a weapon art stomp to set it up. The hyper armor for this move starts about 20% through the animation. This move is very parryable, so be sure to use lots of mix-ups. This move is good for no lock on roll punishes. It has fast recovery time, so it's good for parry baits. It's good to use with bundles. It's kind of slow, so it leaves you open for backstabs, and it's very parryable. I start this fight with a hyper armor contest, which I easily win. I then throw a fire bundle on my sword for the added mix-up. I throw a couple whiffs out to try to get the guy close enough, and some fire paper bundles for the mix-ups to throw my timing off. I then get him with a 2-hit guarantee with the added fire damage. I like to use the bundles to, well, as you can see, change my timings for the sword swing so it's not so predictable. In this next fight, I throw an R1 whiff, and then I get the parry because I can predict the roll. Guess how this ends? Kill shot. This next fight is right near the end, where I get the R1 shot and then the roll punish because I use the fire paper bundle to change up my sword swing timings. This is another fight that's right near the end where I'm able to get the roll punish, but I'm not able to capitalize on it. If you use the fire paper bundle wisely, it makes for some good mix-ups and reduces your parry ability. The one-handed R2 is a huge overhead slice with a follow-up overhead slice. Both of these are chargeable and the recovery time is pretty fast, so if you miss your first attack, you could roll out of it kinda fast, or set it up for the parry, i.e. parry bait. There's tons of hyper armor engaging about 20% through the swings. The speed of the second swing is surprisingly fast, so if you got your no lock on channeling down, your mix-up game will be amazing. This move has okay recovery time, it's good for roll punishes, parry baits, there's phantom rage on the handle if people roll towards you, it hits deep when properly charged. It requires good zoning and channeling though. It's a good follow-up attack to reverse backstep initiations, but it's very parryable, so watch out for that. The rolling R2 is the second attack from the regular R2 attack, but from a rolling start. This move is good for parry punishes, it has insane hyper armor, and well, it's pretty much the same as the regular R2. This next fight I start by throwing some fire bundles on my sword and throwing out some R2 whiffs. I then get the parry and the kill shot with the next move. I take a little bit of damage on the way in, but I think I won that exchange. This next fight's right near the end, and I utilize the hyper armor in the range on my sword to finish off the spear user. For the final fight I'll be showing for this, I start with a fire bundle and an R1 hit check. I then charge my R2 to utilize the hyper armor to get the jump attack punish and combo it together with an R1. I then charge my R2 attack deep and get him with the hit on the phantom range on the handle. The running R1, which is the same as the backstep R1, is a 3-step overhead lateral slash, with hyper armor engaging in the final step when you have stopped moving. I like to use this move for a reverse backstep initiation, neutral ground closing. No lock-on skill is required for this though. This move is very parryable. It's good for roll punishes, and it's got medium recovery time, so it can be used for parry baits, but you'll need good zoning and Yomi for that. For this next fight, I come in with a running attack and get him with the R1 roll punish. I then come in with another R1, hyper armoring through his pyromancy. He does get a bit of a stagger at the very end of that. I then roll through his next pyromancy. I do believe it's fire whip. I'm not a caster, so I'm still unsure. I then come in with the running attack and get him with the weird phantom range. The running R2 slash jump attack is a jumping overhead chop with good range, but has a very long recovery time, leaving you open for backstabs or combos. If you get your zoning right, you might be able to get a parry bait in, but it takes a long time after the jump attack to initiate. This move is good for parry punishes, roll punishes. The phantom range on it's kind of weird, so it's good for strafe kills. It can hyper armor through almost anything, so it makes for good finishing moves, and it's parry proof. I start this fight with a pine bundle and come in with a jump attack. Not a lot happens after this, so I kind of put it in fast forward until I get this next jump attack, breaking his tears. Not a lot happens again, just a lot of footsie from the outside, until I use the pine bundle again and get the final jump attack. In that particular fight, I used the jump attack range and hyper armor to finish off my opponent. The rolling R1 is a 360-degree swing that has good range, but like most rolling attacks, they are very readable. Thus, they are very parryable. This move is good for initiations, setups. The Hyper Armor starts about 10% through the animation. It's very parryable though, and it has 0 phantom range. I start this next fight with an R1 hit check, which I combo into another R1, eating a weapon art on the way in, losing the exchange. I then do a couple rolls, landing the roll attack. We have some neutral game going on. I then switch to two-handed, landing the R1 hit check, eating the weapon art afterwards, trying to get the combo. I then throw an R1 hit check, missing, and then ending it all with the R1 jump punish. The roll attack is very situational, but can be used to duck under other attacks. The two-handed R1 is an amazing attack that, if utilized properly, can make for some amazing combos. The Hyper Armor starts about 10% through the animation. There's a 1, then a 2-3, then a 4-5 hit count when swinging this weapon. This move is good for roll punishes, running attack punishes, it has back protection, it has controllable recovery time between attacks, it has good hitbox range, it's parry proof, and it's good for roll attack follow-ups. I start this fight with an R1 hit check that I combo with a 2-3 part at the second swing, capitalizing on this player's aggression. I then throw another R1 hit check, missing. I then throw an R1 whiff to set up the 3 hit on the second swing, landing the back protection. I then throw out a full combo, landing the last hit. I throw out a couple R1 hit checks, almost getting hit by the weapon art, to eventually land the R1 phantom range kill shot. If you learn to utilize the two-handed R1 properly, it'll make for some interesting offense, defense, and for some stylish kills. The two-handed R2 is a 2-part attack. The first part of the attack being a charging lateral slice that is a deep hitter. The second part of the attack is a huge overhead slice. Due to the chargeability of this weapon, the timing on it is crazy. This can easily one-shot weaker builds, and makes for an amazing finisher. The Hyper Armor on this move starts about 10% into the charge, even before the swing. This move has amazing back protection, it's a no lock on God, it has really good phantom range, it's a deep hitter, parry proof, and amazing for roll punishes, but it does have a long recovery time if you drain your stamina. The two-handed rolling R2 is the second part of the regular R2 attack, except from a rolling standpoint. Other than that, it's exactly the same, and will be used in similar situations, but due to the rolling part of it, you could get a little more creative with it. I start this next fight by charging my R2, utilizing the Hyper Armor to punish the Black Knight Halberd jump attack. I then throw out an R1 hit check, missing. I throw out another R1 hit check into a jump attack, both missing. This guy tries his own jump attack, that also misses. I throw an R1 hit check, missing. I then throw out another R1 combo, utilizing my Hyper Armor against that spin to win move. And then I end it all with another R1 attack, utilizing my Hyper Armor. For this next fight, it's right near the end. I charge my R2 attack, missing. I then charge another R2 attack, this time landing it, utilizing that range. If you learn the zoning for this weapon and how to channel your opponent correctly, it'll make for some vicious damage output. The backstep and running two-handed R1 is an overhead slice that has pretty good range. The Hyper Armor starts about 10% through the swing after the last step. This is a good move to get to know the zoning and channeling for. It can be used for both reverse backstepping and run buffing. This move is good for mix-ups, roll punishes, and initiations via run buffing and reverse backstepping. I start this next fight with a fire bundle and reverse backstep initiation, which I land. I then throw out an R1 to cancel out his weapon art there, and get the combo with the 3 hit there on the second swing. I use another fire paper bundle, do a reverse backstep, and get the kill shot. For this next fight, I start with a fire bundle into an R1 hit check. I then throw another R1 hit check, no lock on, landing it, but not getting the combo. I was going to go for a reverse backstep there, but couldn't land it, so I did a turnaround, R1 if you will. I then throw on another fire bundle, and come in with a regular backstep to mess around with the range there. Come in with a reverse backstep, landing it. Staying out of range with my no lock on there. Throwing on another fire bundle to get the R1 hyper armor through the roll attack. Once you learn the zoning and channeling for the reverse backstepping, hitting your opponent becomes really easy, and it becomes great for the range game. The two-handed rolling R1 is similar to its one-handed counterpart in that it is slow and kinda readable, but it can be used for whiffs and to set up other moves. It's parryable, and it's good for roll punishes if your opponent rolls into you. I start this fight with roll attack initiation to dodge the lightning. I then start throwing my R1s there because he's up against the wall, so I know he's channeling. I put on the Pine Bundle and combo together my R1 attack there beautifully, and pretty much just hyper armor through everything he threw at me to get the kill shot. Roll attacks are very situational, but luckily in that particular situation I was able to roll underneath the magic and land the roll attack. The weapon art for the Great Sword is Stomp with a spin slash follow-up. The poise forward in Stomp is very useful as it can be used to block incoming attacks to link into your own combos. There's hyper armor all through the Stomp as well as block damage. The spin slash has hyper armor all through it, but you can be interrupted in between Stomp and spin slash, so I like to use Stomp R1 for the mix-ups. I start this fight with a Stomp R1 roll punish. This fight's kinda boring, so I had to cut it down. Here you see me getting a Stomp R1 combo breaker. I back away from a little bit to gain some ground so I can get my fire paper buff. I then use my Stomp to block his incoming weapon art. I then back away to get some range, wait for him to go for the weapon art, and finish him off with an R1. The Stomp attack actually blocks incoming attacks while maintaining your poise, so it's good for a combo breaker if you got proper timing. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If there's anything I'm missing in the tech or any discrepancies you have with anything I said in the video, let me know down in the comments. Lord of Hollows offline. Stay salty, my friends.